If your azalea leaves have started developing a strange silver, gray, or bronze speckling across the top surface, and the plant looks like something has been slowly draining the color out of every leaf, you are looking at damage from one specific pest. Almost every gardening article you find will tell you the same thing: you have lace bugs, you need to spray. That is technically correct, and practically it is exactly wrong. Here is what nobody in the gardening industry tells you: lace bugs are not really a pest problem in the way we normally think about pests. Spraying will not solve it, not in a way that lasts. Even the most expensive treatment plans fail on most azaleas within one season, and gardeners spend years fighting a battle they were never going to win. Because the truth about lace bugs is that they are a symptom of a much deeper mistake. Once you fix the actual mistake, the pest often disappears on its own without a single drop of pesticide. In the next few minutes, you'll learn what those silver spots actually are. You'll learn why every store-bought spray you've tried has failed. You'll learn the environmental truth that changes everything about lace bug damage. And near the end of this video, you'll learn one detail about how lace bugs reproduce that explains why single-shot treatments always fail. Stay with me. What you are actually looking at. To confirm what you are looking at, turn one of the damaged leaves over. The top of the leaf will show the silver, gray, or bronze speckling. That is the visible damage. Look at the underside of the same leaf. You should see clusters of tiny, dark, tar-like spots. Sometimes they look like specks of black pepper stuck to the leaf. Sometimes they are more like glossy droplets. Those spots are lace bug excrement mixed with the shed skins of the young insects. Where you see those black spots, lace bugs have been living and probably still are. If you look even closer in bright light, you may see the actual insects. They are tiny, about the size of a grain of coarse salt, transparent-winged, and they cluster in colonies on the underside of the leaves. They are not on the top. They never have been. Everything you can see on the top of the leaf is just the aftermath of what is happening on the bottom. This one anatomical fact is where most gardeners lose the battle in the first 30 seconds. Because when they see damage on the top of the leaf, they spray the top of the leaf, and the pest, sitting comfortably on the underside, feels nothing. Why every spray you have tried has failed. So let's talk about what happens when you spray. The average gardener grabs an insecticide, walks to the plant, and mists the top of every leaf until it drips. It feels thorough, it looks thorough, it is not thorough. Because the pest lives on the underside, contact insecticides only reach the leaves you specifically aim at. And even then, most gardeners never fully coat the underside of the leaves deep in the shrub, hidden from view. Even when the spraying is done correctly, targeting the undersides of leaves, another problem shows up quickly: the eggs. Female lace bugs lay their eggs by inserting them directly into the leaf tissue. A pesticide spray, no matter how carefully applied, cannot reach an egg embedded inside a leaf. So the visible adults die, and 2 weeks later a fresh generation hatches from inside the same leaves. This is why sprays never seem to work, even when they are applied correctly. Which brings us to the real problem, because if better spraying is not the answer, what is? The lie: the retention peak. Here is the truth about lace bugs that almost nobody in the mainstream gardening industry tells you. Lace bugs are not really a pest that hunts azaleas. They are an opportunist that targets stressed azaleas. And the single greatest cause of azalea stress in American gardens is one specific mistake: full sun exposure. Azalea is a woodland edge plant. It evolved to grow under the light shade of taller trees in cool, acidic soil with dappled morning sunlight and full afternoon protection. That is the environment its entire biology is tuned for. When you plant an azalea in an open lawn next to a driveway or against a south-facing wall in full afternoon sun, you have created the wrong environment. The leaves lose water faster than the roots can supply it. The plant runs at low-grade stress every hour of every summer day. Its natural defenses weaken. And this is where lace bugs enter the picture. Lace bugs specifically target plants under this exact kind of stress. Their reproduction rate on a sun-stressed azalea is up to 10 times higher than on a properly shaded one. their damage compounds faster, and their populations explode into full outbreaks in a single season. Meanwhile, an azalea planted correctly in dappled shade with cool soil and afternoon protection may host a few lace bugs in the neighborhood, but the plant's natural chemistry keeps them from ever building up to visible damage levels. Same pest, same yard, two completely different outcomes, determined entirely by where the plant was placed. This is the lie nobody tells you. Lace bugs are not the enemy, sun exposure is. The environmental fix. So how do you fix it? If your azalea is not too large, the best long-term solution is to move it. Wait until fall when the plant is dormant. Dig a wide root ball. Transplant to a location that gets morning sun and afternoon shade or filtered dappled light throughout the day. This one change often eliminates lace bug outbreaks entirely within a single growing season. If moving is not practical, you can bring the shade to the plant. Plant a small tree, a tall shrub, or a mid-height companion plant on the south or west side of the azalea. Even a temporary shade cloth structure during the hottest weeks of summer can dramatically reduce plant stress. Along with shade, 3 other environmental changes support the plant. Mulch. Keep a 2-inch layer of pine needles, oak leaves, or shredded bark over the root zone. This cools the soil and holds moisture. Water. Deep, infrequent watering is better than frequent, shallow watering. A stressed azalea root system needs to reach for deep moisture, not surface sips. Airflow. Make sure the plant is not crowded against a wall or by dense shrubs. Some airflow helps disrupt lacebug colonies. Do these environmental things and you have handled the underlying cause. The lace bugs will still exist in the general area, but your plant will stop being their preferred target. If you cannot move the plant, the only treatment that works. If you cannot move the plant and you cannot bring shade to it and you need to deal with an active outbreak right now, here is the treatment that actually works. Skip contact sprays, skip the misting bottles, both fail for the reasons we already discussed. Use a systemic soil drench. This is a liquid product that you pour around the root zone of the plant. The plant absorbs the ingredient through its roots and it moves up into the leaves, becoming part of the leaf tissue itself. When a lace bug feeds on that treated leaf, it consumes the active ingredient directly. The pest dies. The eggs inside the leaf are also affected as they hatch. Apply the drench in early spring when the first overwintering nymphs become active, and again in early summer as the second generation begins. 2 treatments per season, correctly timed, will control most infestations. One important note: systemic products can also affect pollinators if the plant flowers while the treatment is active. Time the treatment for immediately after the azalea finishes blooming in spring, not before. This prevents harm to bees while still controlling the pest. The 3-generation truth: why one treatment never works. Now, the reproductive detail I promised at the beginning of the video. This is the reason even correct treatments fail in a single application. Lace bugs do not have 1 generation per year. In most U.S. zones they have 3, sometimes 4 in the deep south. The first generation emerges from overwintering nymphs in early spring, usually April. The second generation hatches in early to mid-summer, typically June. The third generation appears in late summer, often August. Each new generation has its own reproductive cycle, its own eggs, and its own population wave. A single spring treatment will kill the first generation. 2 weeks later you feel like you won. 6 weeks later the second generation emerges and you are back to square one. This is why lace bug control has to be planned as a season-long strategy, not a one-shot event. 2 systemic treatments plus environmental improvements are the minimum needed to break the cycle for a full year. Skip either half and the pest will return on schedule every season for the rest of the plant's life. So there it is. The silver spots on your azalea leaves are lace bug damage. The pest lives on the underside of the leaves, not the top. Contact sprays fail. Systemic treatments work, but only when correctly timed and only when repeated across the 3 generations per year. But the deeper truth is that the pest is not the real problem. Location is. Give your azalea the dappled shade it evolved for, and lace bugs stop being the enemy they were never quite designed to be. Fix the environment, handle the pest twice a season if you must, and your azalea will bloom every spring full and green the way it was always meant to. We'll see you in the next one.